All right, we're having some difficulties, as always. It seems. Um, Hoping that maybe this audio is not too bad. Can everybody hear me okay? You can hear me. How bad is the audio? How bad are we looking? Audio is good. You can hear fine. You can hear fine, but does it sound like crap? That's important. I don't want this to be intolerable. All right, we're going to roll with this. I have to, for whatever reason, my mic is whatever. I don't even care. We're just going to roll with it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been gone, obviously. And, I've been doing YouTube for a little while, and I love doing this, and it is a bit more of a hobby to me than to some, maybe. Channel's grown a lot, and I love it. I love doing this. It is a bit more of a hobby. And I bought a house. So in buying a house, everybody knows, I'm sure, that there's a lot that goes along with that, and it took up a lot of my time. And to be completely honest, I just wanted to enjoy it. I'm a newlywed. We've been married for 1 year as of April. And I just wanted to enjoy my wife and enjoy our new home and not have to worry about this and that. So I've kind of taken a step back. But now I'm kind of getting a little stir crazy. So we're going to get back to it as far as being here on YouTube and enjoying you all's company and hopefully trading with you all. And it's been good. Life's been good to me. Very blessed. So just a reminder, this is not financial advice. The information on this channel is provided for education, informational purposes only, without any express or implied warranty of any kind, including warranties of accuracy, completeness, or fitness for any particular purpose. Good deal, good stuff. If the audio ever does kind of get a little distorted, please let me know. I will try and fix it for the next stream. I could probably just get rid of this little mic thing now because apparently we're not using that today. Okay. So what I want to do is, it's been a little while. We need to do a review together. We need to go through and look and see, what am I going to be looking for every single day from now until the time that I stop trading? What are we looking at? All right. Price is always in a box. Price is always making highs and lows. We've got, for example, for an entire week. So it starts out like this. We'll call this Monday. Monday's the opening range. Okay. That's the first day of the week. And it's the opening range. That creates a high and a low for the week. So I've drawn these little lines here to indicate the high and the low of Monday. So we'll do this now, and it looks something like this. On Tuesday, the idea is, do we break out of Monday? Because the market only does three things, and those three things are trend, reverse, or trading range. Okay, it's the only three things that it's capable of doing, and it doesn't matter which time frame that you're looking at. You could be looking at one 15-minute bar, and the following 6 15-minute bars are trading on the inside of that one 15-minute bar. Well, that's a trading range. It's just on a smaller scale. But maybe the market's in breakout, and that's where, if you try to think too much into it, you're going to get very confused, and there's no need to do that. All right, we're going to identify a larger setup and then go down on a lower time frame and see if it's actually playing out in our session. All right, so I'll get down to that here in a second. Monday, Tuesday. Does the breakout succeed? Does it fail? If it succeeds, I need to project that level across. I need to look for either one, the breakout to succeed and continue to expand the range to the upside and turn into a trend opportunity, or over the course of multiple days, fail and go back towards the other side of the range. Okay, if the breakout fails on Tuesday, did it turn into a first red day? Did it turn into a first green day? What type of signal are we looking at now on a Tuesday? Maybe, Monday could have been a breakout of Friday. Let's just say that Monday was a breakout of Friday's high. Maybe Tuesday turns into a inside day. Maybe Monday or Tuesday's an inside bar where they don't hit Monday's high or low, but we're in breakout to the upside. And once again, are we looking for breakout, pullback, continuation? What sort of template are we looking for? And I could very easily draw every one of these templates. Let's see here. Can I get this? 9:25. We got 5 minutes. I'm going to hurry up and do this. So we got breakout, inside trend. We have breakout, failed breakout, reverse. We've got three, usually going to start with a lower low, 3 days of breakouts, lower low, reverse. Let's see here. Inside, yep. So we'd have range, breakout, pullback, continuation, range, breakout, fail, other side of range. These are all the kinds of different templates that you could be observing or searching for. It sounds like you're in a small room. Yeah, I'm having some audio issues. Wouldn't be a Pips to Profit stream without some kind of crazy technical difficulty, so my bad. We're working through it. All right, I'm going to get rid of this paint. Looking at the NASDAQ. Okay, we're on a 15-minute chart. So after thinking about those different templates that we've just observed on a really sophisticated paint program, all right, we're going to take a look at this. We've got the NASDAQ. Now, just because it's broke out for 3 days does not mean that it's going to reverse. Okay, we could be an extended run. We're at all-time highs. We could be looking at a very strong parabolic move to the upside. So I don't want to just take this short. Okay, but yes, we do have breakout day 1, breakout day 2. Yesterday, Thursday, was breakout day 3. And now today, on Friday, we have broke out once again and are sitting up yonder. Okay, so I'm going to write this up here. What am I looking for? I'm looking for 3 days of breakouts. So what does that tell me to do? It tells me to look for a lower low. I need to look for a lower low. Now, to do that, I go down on a 5-minute chart. And I'm just looking at structure of the day. We're making higher highs and higher lows. I don't want to get in front of a moving train. I don't want to get in front of, something that's going to just keep going higher. So I look for evidence that maybe we're starting to flip around to go the other way. 9:28 in the morning, we broke down and made a lower low. Okay, and with this information, I can then go forward into the session with a better understanding of what I'm waiting for. Is the market potentially going to continue to go higher? Yes. Am I willing to take that? No. Why? Because the signal that I've received is 3 days of breakouts, and I have a lower low. So I need to wait for some kind of pop-up, some kind of 3 push pattern or retracement for me to get in at the timing window, which is currently right now, 9:30 almost. And I'm going to look for continuation. This trade is coming off of the high of the day, which means that I take it back down towards the low of the day. So I can take it down towards closing price, low of the day, low of current day, right? And in some cases on this setup, if it's set up a certain way, I'd be willing to take it down to previous day's low. On this one, I'd probably be fine with just going down towards previous day's high, closing price, and the low of the current day. If it presents, not saying it will, but I know what to look for now, and hopefully so do you. Okay, US 30, I'm going to zoom out, and we'll look at the full template for the day. So Monday was a breakout day, which is also the opening range for the week. Fantastic. Tuesday was also a breakout day. So what we've done is now we've established that we're going up. Okay, market go up. Where's Paulie at? Is he in here? He is. Good stuff. Market go up. All right, and we have a breakout close, and then Wednesday we've got an inside day. Now, this inside day could be a signal for a weakening trend. It was also a first red day. Okay. Oh boy. There we go. It's also a first red day. So we get a breakout close. We get a first red day that's an inside bar. They don't trigger the previous day's low, so we don't necessarily have a large scale or on a daily basis a lower low in the market. So this first red day could be a trap. That's what I'm trying to say. We're in an up-moving market. We get a down close bar in an up-moving market. it could be a trap. And where those traps usually come from, they're going to come from either the highest close or the previous day's close. In this case, the squeeze came off of that level projected across the highest close in the week. And that's a playbook opportunity to go long. I personally did not go long. Let's see here. So we got first red, and then yesterday also closed as a breakout. So we've got breakout day 1, breakout day 2, and then leading us into breakout day 3. And then now, after 3 days of breakouts, we have today. So, same exact thing as the NASDAQ. I need to take a little glance. I need to take a gander at what's going on. I'll go down to a 5. And on the chart, we've been making higher highs and higher lows. We'll start at the beginning of the day, gapped up a little bit, made a higher high, confirming a low. And from this higher high, we have pulled back in excess of 2 bars, which means that my low is still currently down here. This is my box. Okay, this is the box. Now, it's now 9:31. If they break the high, my new higher low is going to be this one here. Okay, and again, we might just keep going up. We might just keep going up, and that's fine, but I now have my established levels. I've got the high, the swing high, which is also about the high of the day. I've got a higher low in place, and now I can just watch my levels. Okay, I'm trying not to go too fast because I really want you all to hear what I have to say, but also it is 9:32, so I've got about 10 minutes before, maybe even 5, before I start to feel like I should be watching. So here's gold starting on Monday. Not a first red day necessarily, but kind of the same behavior. We got a failed breakout, day 1 of the 3-day cycle. And then we've got to follow through the continuation off of the peak formation high from Monday. Okay, so the breakout now of Monday's low, opening range breakout to the downside, possibly setting us up for a 3-day template. Again, breakout, inside, continuation. Now, unfortunately, this continuation, 8:30, it started early. Okay, it had already broke down and was going vertical 8:45. For those of you that have been around for a bit, I really like to trade after 9:30. It had already followed through. 9:30, we opened up down here at the low. The trade came off of peak formation low, inside bar, triggered the high of the bar, and then followed through. That's why I always project these levels across. Day 1, day 2, day 3. All right, so it's a 3-day setup. It's a template. That's the 3 days of the template. If you want to call it a 3-day setup, sure, you can call it a 3-bar pattern. It really doesn't matter what you would like to call it. It's built up over 3 days, and it built a little box. And now we've manipulated the box, and coming into today. So there was a setup yesterday just at the wrong time. So we had breakout, and then yesterday we hit both sides of the range, and now we've expanded the range down. All right, so I really didn't have much of a setup yesterday, or a signal, excuse me, except for possibly, maybe first red day, going back towards the low of the week. That's definitely an acceptable signal. We've got a lower low within the week's range. And then first red, and then Asia follow through on the first red, and then now obviously you can see that we're all the way down here. So would I be willing to take anything based off of this current pattern? No, I would not. We've already gone vertical to the downside. If I haven't missed the move and it just keeps going, phenomenal. But I'm not looking to get in down at the low after it's already made a very large move. That would be, I think, probably considered chasing price. And also just sitting here staring at the 15-minute chart, if you've noticed this big bar down, 1, pause, 2, and 3, are they trapping down here? So something that I can do is I can draw this little thing down here. If it breaks back up above here and goes back into consolidation, definitely don't want to be trading this. I'm not going to anyways. Let's go to, all right, so now we're looking at the Russell right now, 15-minute chart. Monday was pretty much, we trade below. Opening range, Tuesday, opening range breakout. Wednesday, inside bar, first red, that goes vertical and breaks out on Thursday. So we have an inside first red, a breakout day retest of the high of the week, Okay, and then we've came up once, twice, 3 times, and we're at the high of the week. That's very important. We're at the high of the week. Is the high of the week going to fail? All right, because this would be a high of week, midweek reversal. It's not a midweek, it's a end of week. Basically like a range reversal of turning into a wick. We're turning the weekly candle into a wick. So we're making higher highs. We're breaking down. I would be happy to watch this and see, does this become trap volume? This 3 peaks pattern, 1, 2, and 3. Is this trap volume at the high of the week? And are we going back for the money somewhere down here? Okay. So what I'm going to do is I would wait for a pop-up. Previous day's high has potentially failed. This is a death candle. We've evacuated. We've left the area. All this volume that's up top. I'm going to wait for a pullback and see if there is one. All right. Oil. Okay. Yeah, so oil had a breakout close. Then we had an inside day on Tuesday. So thinking about templates again. Will the breakout succeed or will it fail? We've got the breakout level. And then we've been in a bit of a 3-day rectangle, really. Okay, we've got an inside bar, a peak high, which may be considered a higher high. In between peak highs and peak lows, kind of just sitting in this little box down here. I think this is going to turn into a no-go zone for me. This is all just consolidation. I need to wait for something better, some kind of better signal. Yes, this is a 3-day rectangle, but we're not breaking out of it. We're not doing anything like that. So I think indexes are probably going to be my best bet. So thank you. US 30, I've got gold up here. I really want the Russell. I really want to be paying attention to the Russell. And again, we could put in a peak low and just keep going up. We could just put in a peak low and keep going up. Okay, I'm going to look for evidence that that's not going to happen. If nothing happens, then I don't take a trade. That's fine. All right, how y'all doing? We'll sit here. I'm going to sit here with you all for the session. Okay, we'll sit here till about 10:30, so this might be a longer stream. I'd really like to start doing more of these live trading streams. So if you would like to see that, please let me know. If you think that's a terrible idea and I suck, well, you can tell me that too. I don't really care. So we'll sit here together. We're going to watch paint dry. We'll watch these candles go through the motions. If I get into a trade, I'll let you all know. Stuff here. Got my little screen here in the middle. Hopefully I can. Yeah, here we go. Y'all can still hear me all right, though, right? Audio still sounds decent. I mean, I'd like to think I don't suck, but, you know, it is what it is. Some people have different opinions. That's okay. Helps you? Good. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that, you know, the time spent, you know, because it does take a lot of time making the videos, making the slideshows. It's always nice to hear that, you know, the time spent provides value. Because if it doesn't, then what the heck am I really doing, you know? All right, so this is what I kind of like to do is I like to just monitor on a 5-minute chart. And whenever I see something on a 5-minute chart that, you know, I'll kind of cycle through and look 5-minute, 15-minute. You know, are things looking, does it make sense? Does it make sense for me to even be looking at that instrument? what time is it? If it's not the right time for me to be taking a trade on something, for example, it's 9:40 right now. We've already had 8:30 news, and basically just waiting to see if my thesis is correct. And if I'm wrong, there is absolutely nothing wrong with being wrong. There is something wrong with me being wrong and then acting just because I was wrong and trying to flip and go the other way and not following the playbook and not doing what I said I was going to do. Caleb, good stuff. Not good that you're struggling. Good that you're here. Hopefully absorbing. Oh, my face is kind of in the way. I've got US 30 up here on the right. Let me scoot it over a little bit. Okay. So 9:30 opened up. We've had 2 or 3 very large breakout bars. This was not a breakout bar. This bar failed to go higher. This one has closed higher but did not break out. And then now we have this one breaking out of the previous bar's high. NASDAQ has broke down and made a lower low, put in a double bottom peak formation low reversal. So this could be the beginning of a 3 push pattern. Okay, so we sit here, we consolidate, and they're working back up into the high, and this is a first pullback sort of scenario. If it breaks down from this first pullback, that's where I'm going to get in. Okay, that's where I always try to get in. It breaks down, it makes a lower low, it pulls back. I try to get in on that first pullback. Are there times when I will get in before the lower low is made, before the higher high is made? Yeah. If the low or the high is really far away. If I have a down close thesis for the day and it looks like it's breaking down and the low is far enough away, there's a lot of instant. And for example, it's 9:30. There's instances where I'll take that, I'll scalp it down to the low, let it break, let it pull back, and then get back in. Oil creeping back up. So oil, I think, oil's got a lot of potential. There's a lot of eyes on oil, and we've got this 3-day rectangle. This is potentially a higher high, but we're still in breakout down. We've got this 3-day rectangle. I really just need to see an explosive move outside of consolidation because I don't want to be trading all the zigs and zags on the inside here. That's why I've kept it off my screen. Ooh, my neck just cracked. Holy cow. Okay, so the Russell, if you look, the way that I like to look at structure, and everyone has kind of a slightly different view, but if you go and study like the Dow theory, it's a very similar view of structure. So you have bars that are trending, but you also, because the market is fractal, right, you have bars that are trending and then you have swings. And when the swings are trending, that's really what I'm searching for the most as far as structure goes, especially on these larger 3-day opportunities. Because you can have a break in trend just in bars, right? So we've got an uptrend here, and then the bars are making higher lows, and then the bars break down and make lower lows. That's a trend break. Just looking at the swings, or at the bars, excuse me, but because the market is fractal. But what I'm actually looking for is the market has made this higher high here and closed higher. It has not closed higher over here. So to me, this is not technically a lower low. Okay, for this to have been a confirmed lower low, they would have had to break below this low here. And a lot of times that keeps me out of short squeezes and getting squeezed out of nonsense. Okay, it's a pretty accurate way of viewing structure, and I've really enjoyed using that method now for a few years, and it's worked well. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to do it that way because you'll see somewhat large move like this, for example, right? This hasn't made a structural lower low yet, so it's very enticing. It's like, oh man, I really want to get into this. But right now, I'm just sitting in consolidation. That's the idea. Is I don't want to trade all these little zigs and zags on the inside of a high and a low. I want to wait for it to break down, break out, and then do what it's going to do. This could be a 3 push pattern back down. We got instead of lifting price, they're dumping price. The bar is opened and expanded, forcing people to buy at a certain area of the chart. This could be the second push. They could launch it down one more time, jam people in, go right back up. And admittedly, I've been still trading with my previous webinar group for almost 3 weeks now. Today's the first day that we haven't been together, and hopefully they're in the stream right now listening, but I see a couple of them. But I was telling them yesterday that these past 2 weeks have been tough in the sense that my setup, perfect, right? Usually I can find a trade almost every day. My setups really have not been showing up over these past few weeks, at least not in a way that was so perfect that I was willing to get into a bunch of size. Now, yesterday I did size into, I think it was the NASDAQ, right? Yeah, it was the NASDAQ. I sized into the NASDAQ short, actually. And I was up quite a bit. And, this doesn't look like that large of a move, but I was sizing into a scalp to get back down towards closing price or towards the low of the day. And I very, very quickly got to break even, which was great. And I was break even plus a few points, and they came back and slipped me into drawdown, which was extremely unfortunate. That was like one of my only trades for this week, and it was a winner, break even, gone negative. It is what it is, How do you get a hold of me for a one-on-one? You can contact me on Discord if you like. I don't really do a lot of them. Really just by word of mouth or by request. But if you want to do one, just let me know. I'm going to have to figure out this microphone. Thing's been a real pain in my butt lately. It's unfortunate. Okay, so Russell, again, we're just sitting here talking about, being down leg 1, leg 2, and thinking maybe they're trapping down here. I don't know. One of the things, I've got my entry criteria. Gold's coming off the low, which I think, yeah, shaky. You and me were thinking the exact same thing. Gold's coming off that low. It's a Friday. We're at the low of the current week. We've broken out and broken down once, twice, 3 times. This might even be. I clicked on the wrong one. So Asia session 1, London session 2, New York session 3. We got session 1, session 2. We got the ramp into the high. And an engulfment of a peak formation high. Maybe wait for a first pullback and see what happens. If it just goes vertical, I know this chart's inverted. If it just goes vertical, I'm obviously not going to be willing to do anything. But if they start showing me evidence right now that, because you remember I mapped this out. I said this is push 1, push 2, push 3. If they are trapping down here, look, we got our 15-minute engulfment. They might be trapping below P2. want to see evidence that they're trapped. If it just squeezes and runs higher, I'm probably not going to get into it. But. Okay, NASDAQ, we pop back up. We got a breakout bar here. We got 10 minutes to a new hour. That's definitely something I need to be thinking about. What is the hourly close going to look like? I'm going to skip these ads for you all, so that way we can keep on taking a gander together, taking a stare. Okay, 1 minute bar. We got a 1 minute engulfment. Actually, we got a very strong breakout bar to the upside. That was immediately met with a breakout bar back down. That's interesting. Is this the pen hammer? What is this next hour going to hold for us? Yeah, it could have done that. We could be running some levels. Like I said, we have been in a very strong up move. This could be the fake out and the continuation to go higher. US 30 is continuing to make a little run. I really don't feel good with this. The way that they're opening bars and forcing people to buy or sell down low in that bar's range. I'd like to see a very strong retracement, maybe, up into this bar, maybe some kind of 3 push pattern that breaks and continues to go lower. If I was to take, a trade on that. Anyways, what I was saying earlier about my entry criteria, I've got fairly objective rules, right? I need a large scale setup over the course of 3 days or at least 3 sessions. On the day, I could be looking for scalps and things like that. But my entry criteria never changes. I've got the large scale setup, and then I also have structures. So if we're making higher highs, we make a lower low. Then I need to wait for 3 pushes. Then I need to wait for some kind of chart pattern. That could include descending triangles, ascending triangles, double tops, double bottoms, triple tops, triple bottoms, head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders. It's not super complicated patterns. Just in that first pullback, I want to see some type of pattern formed. And that's either on the 5, could be on the 1, really depending on the day. And then I need to wait for a breakout bar, a bar that completes the pattern. It completes the move. Okay. Now, a little bit of bonus, a little bit of extra sauce, if you will. One thing I really like to look for is on that breakout bar when it comes down, are they allowing previous shorts to make money? So if we have down closed bars over here, maybe these pullbacks, whatever, are they allowing that side of the market to make money? Are they punishing the longs? When I see that, it makes me a lot more confident in my entry. It makes me very confident that I'm entering into the correct side of the market because they're allowing those people to make money. They're punishing one side, they're allowing one side to make money. So I have a higher probability of success. Anyways, I'm just sitting here talking through because I think that sitting here watching paint dry is probably going to be annoying and boring. It kind of is, but provide a little extra value in the meantime, I suppose. Try to. Oh yeah, look at that. 3 pushes on NASDAQ. So here's the thing, 3 pushes. Everyone, I'm telling you, y'all are ruthless to me sometimes. And that's fine, I'll take it. 3 pushes is subjective. I got it. 3 pushes is subjective. Y'all, people, all caps screaming in the comments about how 3 pushes is nonsense. Go look at your chart, okay, and think of it from a psychological standpoint. And the 3 pushes is subjective until you get an engulfment, okay? So, for example, in this up leg of the move, I don't know where the 3 pushes are. I can sit here and speculate and guess and all this stuff. I don't know until we have a high bull engulfment. Okay, so we have this bar is the highest closed bar in the entire move, and we have a breakout below that bar's low right here. So I would take this and say, well, where was my 3 pushes at? How did the pattern develop? Maybe this is the first push. Or maybe we have a breakout of a high. We came up 1, twice, 3 times, broke down, trapped above P2, breakout, fake out bar to the upside, not allowing those people out. I'm going to sell the break of this bar. Okay, so that's how I look at it in live time, waiting for the engulfment, because like someone just said, right, 3 pushes on NASDAQ, and then it starts going vertical to the upside. I don't know. I have no idea. But we have no breakout bar going back down, so it doesn't matter. I could sit here and speculate 3 pushes all day long. I could say, hey, that's 1, that's 2, this is 3. I could say, hey, this is 1, 2, 3. You know, I could do this 100 different ways. What I'm really waiting for, though, is a series of up close bars followed by a down close bar that breaks out of whatever the highest bull bar is in this move. So let's say it's this one. I would be waiting for a bear close below that bar's low. And that would remove my speculation. I would say, hey, that's, from my best assessment, that's 3 pushes there. This is where, because my belief is that above P2, push 2, there should be traders caught in the move. I look for evidence that they're not allowing those people to get out in the first pullback. And then I look to enter. Pound dollar, inverse head and shoulders, soon to break neckline. Day 1 time frame, or 1 day time frame. Tony, that's if that's how you're trading, you know, maybe. Let's take a look, though. I'm sitting here staring. I'm watching paint dry. Let's take a look. I'll give it to you from my perspective. How about that? Okay, I'm on the pound dollar. We got breakout day 1 on Monday, 2, 3 Wednesday, 4 on Thursday, and then now today has not triggered any level. Okay, so we're in a market making higher highs and higher lows. On a 1-hour chart, we have not broke down. This is tough. This would be a tough read because we're pretty broken out of a previous day's level. That's fine. And we're oscillating around close, the previous day's close. This is not something that I would be willing to trade. Okay. Reason being, we've had multiple large range expanding days in a row. The probability of this turning into a narrow range day is very high, number 1. Number 2, we've broken out and we're holding up in this spot. But more importantly than that, we have no lower low. We have no lower low in an up-moving market, and we're just consolidating. Kind of similar to oil, right? If they went back to the high and then broke down and they were hovering up here like this, I would be like, okay, I'm going to take it from the high of the day back towards the low of the day, or maybe down towards previous day's low, because we have 3 days of breakouts, and because on this day it started to do what I needed to do. It just simply hasn't done that, so I wouldn't be able to do anything. Pound yen, I'm going to leave this up here because this does have a lower low. US 30 is very quickly dissolving from my brain. Look at this. Bar closing at its lows, but higher than the previous down close bar, and they're immediately taking it away. Signs of shorts getting trapped down low. Okay. No thanks. Why would I short something with evidence? Good stuff, Tony. Yeah, I've had a lot of people use the things that I've talked about, or the concepts that I've talked about, and just put it into Chat GPT and come up with some really accurate structure indicators. Very cool stuff. What was I doing? Oh, pound yen. My bad. I got distracted. Typical man brain, Pound yen. Oh boy. Okay. Yeah. Shoot, buddy. Very first assessment, very first thing that comes to my mind is that's a higher high, and that is a strong coil. That is a coil. That is a coil poised to explode. Now, I don't know which way it's going to go. So let's figure out, if I was going to take this, what 3-day opportunity would I be looking at? And why? Breakout. Market only does 3 things: higher high, pullback, trend trade. So this might be a decent trend trade opportunity if it were to present. I would have to wait for the breakout, for the explosion. Coil. Yeah, coil range. The idea, Bueno, is that markets in periods of contraction are much higher probability to lead to a large range expansion. So when you see things that are in a narrow range, they're coiled sideways like this, they're in a range that is set to explode, if you will. That's part of the 3-day setups as well when you look at inside bars or narrow range days. Toby Crable back in the 90s did a really phenomenal study in his book, which is no longer being printed, unfortunately, but you can still find it, on the relationship of narrow range days after 4 days, and then narrow range days after, I think, 5 or 7 days, or both. And he called them NR7, NR4, something like that. AX, I would really suggest going and reading Toby Crable. I think you'll see a lot of similarities. First red day, first green day's in there. It's called something different. Narrow range days, inside days, the templates, they're all in there. Okay. Phenomenal stuff. Also beat the market maker. All this stuff is just getting passed down, right? BTMM, and studying that, and having studied other things, you'll see stuff from Toby Crable. Toby, Toby. Tango, Oscar, Bravo, Yankee. Can I look at copper? Yeah, so these are broken down and then just gone vertical to the upside. So right now I am doing nada, not doing a darn thing. Copper, gold. Natural gas. Yeah, you know what? I kind of stopped watching natural gas because that thing, it was so clunky and the spread was very odd. I took a couple trades on it. and I just really, I don't know why, it just stressed me out. The thing, it was very clunky. The spread would open very unusually at times, and the bars would just go from point A to point B out of nowhere, seemingly, which was, it was odd. Made me feel weird. Personal preference, though. Market is a market. Chart is a chart. Are you open for business partnerships? No. I get 50 billion emails a day about wanting to partner with me, and I block all of them. I report them for spam, too. Please conduct the live sessions every day. Well, people keep showing up. I will. I will. I think it'd be good. It's not like it really takes an insane amount of time. Probably just do it, 9:15 to like 10:30 every day? Probably wouldn't be. It wouldn't be that hard. Just keep reiterating the same stuff over and over. I'd like to start doing some more YouTube videos too. Those slideshows just take so long to make, and I don't want to reuse old slideshows, because it's like, did you even put effort into the video? If I want to make a YouTube video, it's long form content. I want to put effort into it, and I don't want it to just be, a check in the box. So. How am I doing and feeling? I'm doing phenomenal, actually. I'm feeling better than I ever have. I appreciate that, Tony. How you doing? My workout schedule. I used to have a home gym in the old house that we lived in. And moving here, I brought the home gym with us. And the gym, my garage here is air conditioned. So, the workout schedule has been fantastic. Do I have a full-on playbook? Yeah. I do. Do I ever trade treasuries? No. Someone asked me to do copper, by the way, and I got distracted immediately and started running my mouth. We got breakout day one on, again, so it's an up moving market. We got breakout day one. Tuesday, failed to go higher, but it was a higher high. We don't have any lower low. Wednesday was an inside bar, so we're still poised to go higher, right, until that lower low gets made, but it hasn't. So market continues to squeeze higher. Day one breakouts. Day two of longs triggered into the market. Day three longs triggered into the market. Day four. Looks like we got a higher high. And we got a lower low and a small pullback. This is what I'm talking about, trying to get in after the pullback. This is a very small but very relevant double top slash this. Okay. Every time the market breaks down or breaks out, it goes sideways. There it goes sideways, looking to enter one tick below the bar. Okay. Obviously, I'm not entering in on this. I'm just explaining my entry criteria. If I would have taken this, that's how I would have been looking at it. Now I have no idea. That was, in my mind, that was the setup. That was the trade. And now all of this is just whatever. Have I ever talked to Stacey personally? Like on the phone? No. We emailed a couple times. other than that, no. Yeah. I mean, who knows? These days, every other day, there's some crazy news that the market responds to. So, who knows what it's going to do? I'm just going to keep looking for breakouts and failed breakouts and 3-day opportunities. It can literally do whatever it wants. Natural gas futures, William. Natural gas futures. One of my good friends from high school, he also trades, and I need to go do research on it. But he put me onto he said that you can trade like US 30 in the US with this website. So I need to go check it out, but I will let you all know if it's good. If it's trash, you'll never hear about it again. Would you say the most common setup across your trading? Definitely that's going to be session trades coming off of like the high of the day and the low of the day. Things that are not necessarily set up over 3 days, but we're at levels, and I'm willing to take it from the high of the day back towards the low of the day, or from the low of the day back towards the high of the day. I think 3 days of breakouts probably shows up the most, but it doesn't play out the most. A lot of times it just keeps going, or it doesn't set up well on the day. I used to tell everybody that my favorite setup was first red and first green day, and it still is. I love first red and first green days. But lately, there's been some really good peak formation low, like 3-day setups that were built off of like high of week or low of week reversals. So, market go up, market's been going higher, triggers the previous day's low, and then they pop it back up for a day, and they go back for the retest, and the retest fails. That's one of the templates in one of the setups. So that turns into either a high of week or a low of week reversal, and I love those because these move. I mean, they really put in some movement, okay? And when these things, especially on the third day, right? So you get the lower low day, which is considered to be the first day of a 3-day pattern. You have the retracement day, which goes back and retests the high, may even break out of the high. But on the third day, if they trigger the previous day's low again and pop it back up, or break out of the previous day's low and pop it back up, oh yeah. And it actually follows through, those things are phenomenal. Hold on, let me go find one. Since we're just sitting here staring at paint and it's drying and grass is growing. Pleasure, William. Let me see if I can find one. I know that gold likes to do it a lot. Let's back up here. To be honest, this is one as well. I mean, this is one, it just, the time that it played out wasn't in our session, which is unfortunate, but you get the low, right? And then you have the attempt to go back to the high. So the rally, right? There's a peak formation low. They attempt to go back to the high. It fails to go higher. So on this day over here, so you got peak formation day, rally, fail, and then this turned into a 4-bar pattern instead of a 3, which is very common. And you need to be aware of that and know that. That sometimes, 3-bar patterns turn into 4-bar patterns. They also evolve into 5 and 7-day patterns, but that's too much. That's too long. I got to track that thing for 5 days. I can't do that. Does trading bring me fulfillment? No, it doesn't. I love the freedom that it brings, but it's not. No. I get a lot more fulfillment from providing a service, providing value to the world, and me trading on my own and never talking to anybody ever sucks. So this is my outlet here. Hold on, let me find one of these things. I love these. Oh, okay, this is. You can also have signal days after you receive. So market go up, right? Market go up, trade a low, and then over 3 days, right? So we've popped back up. We've attempted to go higher, day 1, day 2, and then in the London? In the London session, it followed through. So unfortunately, it was not in New York, but that's still a 3-day setup to go back towards the low. There's going to be times when they're a lot better, though. And when they set up for New York, yeah, okay. Market's going up. We trigger the low. We pop it back up. And then it goes vertical. Okay. Now, this wasn't over the course of 3 days necessarily. It was because the inside bar was the first day of the range. Inside day, failed breakout, lower low. They triggered the low in the same day. And then consolidated above the previous day's low over here, which is a big 2 thumbs up. Again, that's another good 3-day setup. Same characteristics. The time was just slightly different. Okay, this is also as well. Market go up, breakout fails. Inside bar, breakout to the downside, project that level across, which this is the lower low, right? It broke out. And then in Asia, it followed through. So again, not in the correct session. God bless. You seem tired. No. I'm nearly 600 milligrams of caffeine into my morning. We're doing really good. This is not. This is ripping up. Trading develops real human. I think it's a combination of things, but yeah, definitely. It's very backwards, With trading, there's things that need to be studied. There's things that need to be learned. But once you know what you need to know, there's not some secret sauce. There's not more to be learned. It's not an endless battle for more information. There's really not that much that needs to be learned. There's experience that needs to be gained, right? You got to go through the steps of learning how to control yourself, how to, just like anything though, when to stay out of certain situations, when to go forward with something, what to target, when to target it, why are you targeting that, why are you entering that trade? That comes with long-term experience. The more objective side of things, there's really not that much to learn about the market. Market only does 3 things: breakout, trend, reverse. It's fractal. How do I identify my swings? What is consolidation? What isn't consolidation? A little bit of price action patterns. You can learn. I don't have the best memory in the world. I've memorized all this stuff. It's, not too much. Okay. We're back at the high on the Russell. Gotta tell you, it's really not the pattern that I want to see. So this bar has closed lower than the highest close. This bar, came up here. This one's closed lower. So this is kind of what I was saying. Number one, they have not made a lower low. Number two, they really ripped it back up towards the high. Could this break down and follow through? Yes. Would I be willing to execute until they start allowing shorts to make money? No. Because what could happen is they can pull back down here. They're going to create a range and consolidate, trap shorts, and then possibly make their run. Will that happen here? I don't know. Is that what happens frequently? Absolutely. So that's why I like to wait. Let's see. Trading isn't Thursday on that chart. First red day on Russell. Which chart? I don't think there was any first red days for indexes yesterday. Gold, yeah. And the reason I have not been executing on gold is because, well, we're already outside of the previous day's low by, that's a lot. It's quite a bit. Really wish I had a better setup for you all to sit here and talk you through, but this might be a waiting day. What is this? I've had a lot of waiting days these past couple of weeks. It's unfortunate, but I just don't want to trade the garbage. Yeah, see, I don't have any profit for this week. That is just the reality of it. It's been a slow week for me. Toniac. So yes, I like to have human interaction, but I don't like to. I don't explain it. Like, I don't want to go and sit and be at. I don't know how to explain it. Like, I like people. I just don't want to be forced to be around people. Right here on the stream, I can talk to you all. I enjoy talking to you all. But I'm in the comfort of my own establishment. You know what I mean? And then I can leave at any time and go about my day. Funded accounts. I like the concept, but I think that it needs to be approached with a different mindset. And this is why. Because for a $50,000 funded account, for example, you have a $2,000 max drawdown limit. And they say, well, you're on a $50,000 account. No, you're not. No, you're not. Because if you get $2,000 of drawdown, you fail. If you get $2,000 worth of profit and then you lose that $2,000, you fail. So the problem is you're on a $2,000 account risking a mini. You have to pass the challenge, right? You don't want to just sit there and do the same challenge for months and months and months. So you risk way more than you're supposed to in a lot of cases. And it becomes a gambling event. Now, if you go into it with the understanding and the fact that, you just want to pass the challenge, so you're going to risk a bunch and you don't mind paying, if you fail, you don't pay the $50 again. Whatever. Am I saying go and put 5 minis on the account and just keep doing that? No, of course not. Pass the challenge and then risk as little as you can. Yeah, basically a 2K account with big leverage, exactly, which is why they're making like $50 million a month or something like that from retail. Would you do a fun? I already have. Z. A while ago. And I posted the when I passed. No, it's definitely not sustainable, Tony. It's absolutely not sustainable. It should be a make a quick profit and then be done. You know, start your own funded account or start your own live account. I like the idea of it for people that, you know, they've developed the skills, but they don't have the starting capital. You know, some people in some countries, it's not the same, you know, and I completely get and understand that whatever. So I think for some people it's feasible. It's good. It's a good start. But it should be approached very cautiously. Depends on what you're doing and what country you're from. If you're trading Forex or you have an offshore brokerage account with a lot of leverage, you know, it really doesn't take that much. A beginner should be profitable, in my opinion. Of course, not advice again. Beginners should be profitable on a demo account at least for at least 3 months. You should be trading a demo account for 3 months minimum, profitably, without making any mistakes. No over leveraging, no revenge trading, no whatever. You journal every day. And you should be doing that consistently. And at the end of those 3 months, you know, maybe. But the biggest thing is, so like, that's the challenge that I set for myself at the very beginning was I'm going to trade for 3 months profitably. If I can do that, I can go live. If I screw up at any point, I have to restart. So I could be 20 days in and over leveraged because I was revenge trading and I have to go back to day one. Oh yeah, Tony. I won't say the amount. It was good though. It was decent. But it was a day where I woke up and I said, today I'm going to make more money. I remember I was brushing my teeth and I was like, today I'm going to make more money, which means I'm going to over leverage something just because. Yep. And it was my worst day ever. Let's see here. Pound yen. Is it breaking down? Because last time I looked at pound yen, it looked like it was going to squeeze higher. Oh, no. Okay. Nice. We got 3 peaks now. And instead of ascending, triangling itself into the upside, it is broke out to the downside. I think it was like in excess of 5%, Tony. Might have been, I think it was more percentage-wise. It was probably like closer to 10%. Appreciate that, Paulie. It's good hanging with you all. It's been a while. I was excited this morning. I woke up. I was like, oh, you know, I almost forgot. Funny story. It's been, 2 months? And some of y'all probably know I'm not really a huge techie guy or whatever. Can you put your face in the bottom left? I'm about to tell you all about my tech experience, and I'm going to try and do this. Yeah, let me give it a shot. Can you hear me now? All right, good deal. Do I think military helped me? Yeah, in a way. I think the military it really develops you as a person in general. The only thing is, I think a lot of athletes would probably not do well in trading or people that are used to being successful all the time. Because that's not how this works. It is not the more effort you put in, the better you do. It's not a normal business. But discipline-wise, and just identifying problems, identifying what needs to be done, and then just doing it. I think that aspect definitely helped. Risk to reward ratio, neither. Probability. I think it's a combination of the 2Z and then probability. It'd be really easy for me to say, well, I take trades and I only take a 1 to 3 risk to reward. That's fantastic. What's the probability of it reaching 1 to 3? I think that's a very beginner way of thinking. I'm going to take this trade and I'm only going to accept 1 to 2 or 1 to 3. But the chart tells me that my risk to reward should be 1 to 1 or less than 1 to 1, in which I really shouldn't be taking it at all. But I'm sitting here saying, well, but I have to get a 1 to 3. Is it even worth it? Good luck, I guess. Yeah, sure. But when I look at something and I say that's not going to give me, I would say a more professional mindset would be that's not going to give me a 1 to 1, or it's not going to give me, greater than a 1 to 1. So for the sake of my business, it's not worth doing. It's not worth taking. Now, if I look at a chart and I say there's a very high probability based off a large template setup and the current day's pattern and in my timing window, it's set up well. This is where I'm supposed to put my stop, and this is my first target based off of the trade. And that setup is telling me that the chart is set up well with high probability of success to reach a 1 to 3 or a 1 to 5. That's what matters. That's why I say probability. And setups, reoccurring setups. Okay, British pound, Japanese yen broke down, immediately went back into consolidation. Is this breakout pullback, or are they about to? Is this the spring? Is this the spring to go vertical? I don't know. I'm curious though. I can't trade this pair, but. What is US 30 doing? It is going vertical and it's sitting up high. Okay. Sitting in consolidation. Look at this. So it came back down. 1, 2, 3. First bar gets my attention. Second bar, I take action. Third bar, I take action in the worst possible place in the chart. This guy was allowed to make a little bit of money. That's a lot of follow through. That is a really large bar. And then we get it taken away immediately. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting pretty late in the session. I'm not seeing it. I'm no longer, unfortunately, this is probably the one that looks the best, and I'm not confident in that at all. I'm not willing to take that. I'm not willing to do anything with this thing. That is not a reoccurring setup that I'd be willing to take. Wrong time of day, really. If they would have broke out, pulled back, and then it's 10:30 maybe, but is it really worth it? I don't know. I don't feel comfortable with any of these. All right, so there's 62 of you in here right now. Game plan, all right? Then we're gonna do the same time on Monday. Same time Monday morning, 9:15. They gave us plenty of time to chit chat for a bit, get things set up. Okay, I don't see it, I'm out. G, gain some. Around 10:30. 10:30, 10:45. I don't see it, I'm done. Which is what I'm doing right now. All right, so I'll see you all Monday morning, 9:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Appreciate you all coming and hanging out. It's good. I think it was a good first stream back. I had a lot of fun. Y'all have a great rest of your day. Have a great, safe weekend, please. And I will see you all back here on Monday. You'll have a good one.